We are at our last winery on our tour. The vineyard is large with grapes ready for harvest. Just look. This winery is the only one I've come across so far that has setups for at least 3 electric vehicles to plug in and charge while here. It's the modern thing to do, and it just allows more visitors to come. This is the building right off the tasting room where they process their wine and take care of the grapes coming in from their vineyards. And they're very nice, inviting tasting room. They have an area near the parking area right outside the tasting room where you can take your wine and enjoy it. And then the trail up to the hill above the vineyard, overlooking the vineyard itself, the valley, and the wine tasting room is a must-see. And the entrance to the wine tasting room here is very nice. And as you step into the tasting room, it's very comfortable, very welcoming. They have their wine selections on display, and a very good person to tell you all about the wines. After checking in, we went down to the area for Harvest Host guests to stay overnight. They had improved the area since I was there last, leveling it with gravel and installing potable water and power. I then took care of the girls in the RV, then walked back up to the tasting room for the wine tasting and to find out more about this winery from the host.
Okay, welcome to GIRARDET Vineyards, the second oldest winery in the Umpqua Valley. Second generation winemaker, family owned still. We are dry farmed here. That means that we do not irrigate any of our grapes. We also do not use any pesticides. We use horse manure and hand weed whack everything in the vineyard. We grow 33 different varietals ranging from Italian, French, Spanish, and American hybrids. The one American hybrid that's notable for us is the Baco Noir, because that was introduced by Philippe Girardet back in the 1970s to the entire Pacific Northwest. So anything that you find in the Umpqua Valley, which is the region of wine that we're in here, any of the Baco Noir that you find here comes from this vineyard originally. We have 30 acres of wine total. There's 56 acres on this property, but only 30 acres planted. There's 30 different varietals planted here. Girardet is another notable varietal that we grow that's only grown in 4 states in the United States currently. It was actually rediscovered by an Italian winemaker's daughter from Italy and then brought back to the United States. And Oregon being one of the states that grow that. Girardet is very earthy and deep and grippy, kind of heavier than a cab. So we also grow Cayuga here that we blend into our Take Flight White. That is a New York Finger Lakes grape that tastes like peaches. I'm pretty sure we're the only ones in Oregon that are growing that. Definitely the only ones in the Umpqua Valley that are growing that varietal. So I would like to invite you guys to come out here and visit our winery anytime. We'd love to have you guys try our Baco Noir. And there you go.
After the wine tasting, I asked her if I could see more of the facility, and she kindly showed me around their winemaking building attached to the tasting room. This is an additional area they've recently added to their main tasting room, and it has a display case with the history of the wine they've produced here, and extra seating for wine tasting. Within their area that they have all their wines already packed in cases, ready for selling and distribution. On one side of the building was their bottling and packaging area, and across from that was some of their stainless steel containers for another variety of wines. Then we walked into the barrel room.
Okay, welcome to the barrel room where all the magic happens. These barrels are 3 years old. We actually don't like a lot of oak in our wine, so we don't want to use a 1-year-old barrel because it will have more oak and it will pull more oak flavor out of barrel into the wine. So ours are 3 years old. Sometimes they have a little, you want to look over here, drips, little leaks there. That's good for it though. It's gaining its time. And they sit in the barrels for about 18 months is pretty consistent, but sometimes we do a little bit longer, like our 13 cat stayed in the barrel for 3 years. So it all depends on what the winemaker decides at that point. Okay?
We are going to walk up this little path between the two groups of vineyards to the hill here that has a very, very nice view of the valley below and the vineyard below. So we're going to be taking a little walk up there in the sun and enjoying the nice weather. Here I am climbing up halfway the hill behind the winery and the vineyard, looking down. You can see the roof of the wine tasting room, and if you look close you can see my little Class B RV way over there in the empty field. Get a great view of the valley, the rolling hills, forested hills, and we are looking up here to the top of the wooded hill where we're heading. So let's go up there and check it out. Beautiful day to be here. On top of the hill above the vineyards, the wine tasting room, looking down on the valley. It's a beautiful sight. So one thing I think stands out with this winery is hiking up to this hill above it and the beautiful view of the valley and the mountains below. And if we turn all around, we find that up here also they have 2 hammocks. The wind right now is blowing them that way, but there's picnic tables up here, and over the hill was a tree house 2 years ago, but the old oaks up here on the lonely hill looking down upon the valley, the farmland, the vineyards. It's just a beautiful setting. One worth coming to the winery to enjoy along with their great wines. I noticed they've replaced the old picnic table they had up here a couple of years ago with a brand new, very nice one. So you can carry your wine and cheese and crackers up here and have a beautiful picnic with a fantastic view of the vineyard and the winery below. Then relax in the 2 hammocks they have up here in the shade. It's just great. Well, whew, I'm still feeling the effects of the wine. Darn good wine. And I walked up here on top of the hill above the vineyards and the winery to clear my head and just enjoy the view that I remember last time I was here was so fantastic. And as you can see behind me, that's the vineyard back down the hill and the wine tasting room and the sprawling valley in the area here. This area is beautiful. I really love going through the Umpqua Valley, which is just south and pretty much attached to the Willamette Valley, it seems. But the wine vineyards and that just go all the way down the Oregon valleys from north to south. And I tell you, you'll never hit them all. There are so many. Their wines are so varied in taste, and their settings are so different that it's just a wonderful experience. I would suggest you all try it. I wonder if the girls down there could see me up here. I'm sure Sarah is sleeping in the back on the couch. Kate's probably ever watchful in the passenger seat, watching for my return. They take good care of my rig and myself. But there's one last thing I have to do before I go back down the hill. Ooh, well, I'll say this, after some wine, it takes a little bit of a skill to get into these hammocks up here. I got dumped out the first time. Second time I was a little more careful. But I had to try out the hammocks again, the new ones, while I was up here before heading back down to see the girls. This is awesome. Looking up at old oaks and that, little green moss all over them. Listening to the wind in the trees and the goings on down below in the valley. I tell you, bring your picnic up here with your bottle of wine from the vineyards and just take an hour or two and relax up here. Enjoy the peacefulness of the hill, the scenery, the sound of nature and the wind. So I hope you enjoyed the 13 tours of different vineyards and wineries through the Oregon winery country, and I hope you'll visit all of them. They're each unique and totally different from each other. Their wines may be reds and whites, but they're all very distinct and different. So I found no two wineries to be the same, which was very exciting and very pleasurable, because that just means you have more variety of taste. Looking down below, I believe that building right there at the end of the vineyard here is their new Airbnb that I was told of. To be sure, contact the winery and find out. Here's the patio of the Airbnb. They have a grill up there on the patio. As you can see, their Airbnb is very nicely done. It looks like a very comfortable place to stay for a weekend or more. You should check it out. Well, this ends our 2-week 13 winery tour through Oregon's Willamette and Umpqua valleys. I hope you enjoyed our video series and are making your own plans now to tour Oregon's wineries. Watch for our next series on fall and winter camping in the Washington State parks during their off and often wet seasonal months. Till then, the girls hope you will like, share, comment, and subscribe if you liked our videos. So long now.